And we are back painting our Treadspeeder. So I'm still working on that leather seat. Mix this in together so this coat works. So there we go. That's better. That is so much better. There we go. There we go. That's it. There. That'll probably be the last coat on the seat I do. Maybe one more depending how it dries. And then after it's dried I can put a coat of the leather contrast I have on it. I think now I'm going to pick out some of the gunmetal greys and some of the detailing around here, I think. Let's see what we've got. Oh, I need a bigger workspace. There we go. I've got some lead belcher. Let's give that a try. And I will take some of this and place that down here. I want quite a bit of this. Let's get quite a nice scoop there. And we will get some water. Mix that in. How's that looking? Maybe another scoop of water. There we go. There we go. That's a little better. Let's mix that water in. Let's trail some of this excess paint off. Yeah, that's good. And then let's start painting what we have. So initially I'm going to do this underside in a gunmetal grey. I might add some layering to this section with some silver just to give it a bit of contrast once it's dry, but we will see how this turns out and looks. There we go. That's nice. Covering. Let's do the gun barrel. Still haven't quite decided if I want to try and add something to this side to give an extra barrel, but we'll see. Now we'll do this side. Too much paint on that, building up there. Let's get rid of some of this excess silver. that's a little better. That's better. Yeah. That's better. Yeah, I really haven't decided. That's those two bits done. I now want to do some of these detailing parts. I definitely want to do this section, which looks like almost like a vent or something. Yeah. Not too worried about these going over. They add almost like scuff marks, which add yet another layer of depth to this, which I do like. Get those. Don't want too much paint there. Now to come and do this section. These footwells painted. Around, we'll do this side of the footwell. Possible the silver, this gunmetal grey might have been a little too thick. It's covered up all of the grime we built up in the beginning, which is a bit of a shame, but it's fine. This can be reworked later on. So I'm going to paint the exhaust. But I don't want to paint all of it. I want to leave the connectors as that dull grey. Yeah, that's good. Then I want to do this back plate and the fan on the back of the speeder as well. There's a nice, let's do it under here. So there's some silver vents here as well, which I want to do. Especially cover up that blue. There we go. Yeah, that's good. That looks good. There we go. Forgot to add this vent. There we go. Handle point as well will need a nice little touch up. There we go. And these grips need tidying up. And I think I'm going to paint this bit silver as well. I don't know how accurate that is to the on-screen version, but I'm not too worried about that. I want this to be mine. Yes. Yep. I'm happy with that. Yes, I'm definitely happy with that. Okay. Oops. Yeah, I'm happy with how that is coming along. Now the seat's dried, I'm going to go back and add that leather wash. What I would problem is just trying to find it. At one point I had all of these organised by contrasts and colours and what have you, but you use one and then you quickly grab something else and they just kind of get dumped together and mixed up. I do need to spend some time tidying them again, but skeleton horde. What's that for something else? Oh well. Where are we? Agrax, Earthshade, Human. Ah, there we go. Snakebite Leather. So this one's a contrast paint. With contrast paints, they are designed to go on without being watered down, and the idea is they don't work so well on the flatter surface, but on textured surfaces they sort of pool into the crevices and whatnot, so they give a slightly they give tonage. Now my local game store have started stocking I think they're army builder paints, and they literally do a one coat paint, which are essentially contrast paints, but apparently they work on flat surfaces and everything else. I intend to start checking those out at some point in the future and move away, potentially move away, depending how I get on with them, from the Citadel paints. Not that I have anything wrong necessarily with Citadel paints, but I'm not a big one for using the base paints and building them up, and typically I tend to just prefer using the contrast paints. So that's my intention. They've come along nicely. I think trying to decide what I want and how I want it. Wondering if I want this inner part to be a lighter grey. Could give it a try. If I don't like it, I can always go back. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to even try an experiment. So I'm going to use base standard grey. Sorry, Mechanicus grey. It's quite a dark grey. Actually, that's dark if I want. I don't like that. No, I want Celeste grey, maybe. Where's my greys? Grey seal, that's maybe too light. Don't have grey in that, that's fine. Lead belch, okay. There we go, Celeste grey. I'm going to try it. I'm going to get some Celeste grey. Oh. And put that there. And we'll get one more for luck. Then get rid of the Celeste off the brush. Need to get a new tissue to clean this off with. And then I'm going to mix a little bit of lead belcher in. We're going to see how it looks. A little bit more. Ooh, look at that. That's what I want. Yeah, maybe just another scoop of lead. Yeah. There we go. That's a nice looking colour. I'm going to be very, very naughty. I'm not even going to water this down. I want this. I'm going to thin out my brush and then slowly and carefully I'm going to add this to the trim here. Oh, look at that. That's exactly what I wanted. That's gorgeous. There we go. Just added a bit of depth to it. Gently and carefully do the sides. And we do the other side. There we go. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. Just adds a little bit of depth to it. Yeah, that's coming on very, very nicely. I'm very happy with how that's turned out. And you can see how the leather's looking on the seat now. It hasn't come out too badly, actually. I do need another tissue. Get another tissue in and start using a fresh one to clean the brush. This is coming along so nicely. I'm really, really happy with everything that's happening and how this is coming together. Yes, so far so good. Next up, it's coming along really, really nicely. So I think next I'm going to get one of the lighter silvers, which is somewhere. Iron break. I know I've got another one. What's that bouncer? There it is. That's the. Okay, so I've got a iron breaker and I have a storm host silver. Then I have the iron. And what I'm going to do is over some of the panels. See how I'm just tipping one side of the brush. I'm going to add some silver lining to the ends. Some silver there. What I do is just add a few scuff marks here and there over this thing to make it look like it's been used. It's scuffed up, the dirt and grime and everything else have hit and chipped away the paint on this. And again, I mean, this is essentially dry brushing, except it's just on those corners. Not doing everything, just highlighting a few ends here and there as I see what I want to do. Some handle there, oh shoot, that's fine. There we go. Let's get rid of some of the excess again. Again, done on the footwells. Done underneath the footwells. Eventually, I will actually add a dry brush of scratches just to make it look, but I want to first off line a few bits and panels here and there as this bit here I'm actually going to do a little rough. I want some natural scuff marks there throughout. Then I have the brief idea that I want to do some, this layer, which is the, oh shoot, it's fine, means I can use this, but this one's really watery. Oh well. I just want to do some of these undersides in a slightly different silver, just to give these machine parts some life. There we go. That will do. That will do. There. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm just going to absorb that because I don't want to get caught with it. I can go in the bin. That can be rinsed off. Now I'm going to do some actual dry brushing. So let's go, so I don't knock that. Now I want to try these. There. So do have some actual So here I have a couple of makeup brushes, and I literally use them for dry brushing. They work wonders. So I want the iron breaker again. Give that a good stir. Then I'm going to get some onto my makeup brush. I'm going to wipe off some excess. And then I'm going to wipe most of the paint off on my board until there's very little left. And then I'm just going to get my brush and literally just brush over like so. That's actually too faint. I actually want to start with some thicker patches first. That's fine. That's a little better. So that's a little better. Yeah, there we go. I wanted to start with some thicker patches to begin with, and then I will go over some nice faint quick scratches along the body, along here. And we're going to do the same this side. Work the brushes over the sides. I'm going to do the sides of these treads and make them look scratched. You see how I'm just literally swiping this over really quickly? You don't want the brush to linger and the paint to pull or catch anywhere. You just kind of want it to brush over nice and gently until you're happy I am. Yeah, I'm really happy with how that is looking. Definitely coming along very, very nicely. Next up, I think I've done a little too much in one corner, so I'm just going to go get my original paint. I'm just going to go I know that looks a little odd and out of contrast, but I'm going to give this another wash in a minute, so I'm not too worried at the moment. Although I really do kind of look... That wasn't intentional, but I like that. Yes, that's not bad at all. Right, so next we are going to give it a wash. So I'm going to get a little tidied up, and then we're going to go and do another wash in the same way that I did initially. So essentially I'm layering the wash on top of it. Okay, so I've got that coffee lid I was using before. I've put a little bit of water in there, well, quite a bit of water in there to be honest, and I'm going to drop in some paint. I'm going to mix it in. That is a nice, very watery consistency, which is what I wanted. Because now this one, it's still going to be a wash, but I'm going to be a little more careful on where it's going. There are bits I don't necessarily want to bring out in this black. I am going to do all of this surface here, and again, as soon as it's on, I'm essentially going to blot it off. Don't want it pooling or leaving spots anyway. I do want it getting into these crevices though, so that's good. The more it gets into crevices, the happier I'm going to be, because that is going to be where the grime and the dirt and everything else collects. Now this is a lot waterier than my previous consistency. Wasn't intentional, it's not too bad. You can see I'm going back over the bits where I really do want this collecting, and then just blotting it off and giving it a good wipe. There, that's a lot better. And we're going to do the same on the handles. One thing I really don't want on this layer is it pooling and collecting spots. I suppose in theory it wouldn't be too bad, like oil stains or dirt which is collected, but I don't want that. Just a personal preference. I want this layer to be more of getting into those crevices rather than the collected dirt. This bit here definitely needs a couple extra bits just because of, see how it's sort of spotting there? That's not what I want. I want a cleaner dirt, if that makes sense. That's a little better. See, on this side, I'm going to get as much here as I can. Let it really soak in. If it the more it pulls in the crevices, the happier I am. That's where the dirt's getting in. That's where it's collecting. Like, that bit there is perfect. That's exactly what I want. Okay. Oops. Do a quick wash over the feet wells. Some of this I'm not even going to wipe. I'm just going to let it sit and dry in some places. Same with the back feet wells. Here as well. Definitely want some of that pooling up in that fan and turbine. You can imagine all of the grime and dirt and dust and everything else that thing's spewing out as it picks up all of the dirt from under the treads. Next up is the grey. Next up is the grey. I want this just going on, coming in. Basically, this is going, I want this going in as a wash to pick out those corners and things rather than really dirtying it up. Then we want to do this side. I want some oil and dirt in these part of the engine. Right. Now I've purposefully left all of this bit here. That was intentional. I want that left. Not because it wouldn't be dirty, it's just a personal preference in my decision making. I have some other ideas on how I'm going to do this bit. I'm just going to Add some to the grills there. I want that less covered in oil and grime and more in a dust and a dirt. Equally, I am going to put some of this black wash on it, but I'm actually going to use, no, I will use this. I will use this, but I'm actually going to do a closest. I'm going to be exact on what I want. So I'm just going to get one of my smaller brushes. I'm going to thin off what's on my brush. And then essentially I'm just going to let it pool in. Instead of washing it over and leaving the grime on, I'm going to essentially just panel line the bits. Do want it in those grills though, and in these little dots. Some in here. There we go. There we go. That's looking good. All around a bit. Just not quite as dirty as I wanted it. To the underside. There we go. This is looking amazing. I am so happy with how this is turning out so far. Now I want to do some really want the grime to collect in certain places. So I'm going to brush it away rather than there are places where I want it to collect a little more than others. For no reason beyond personal preference. Right. Okay, now I'm going to do next I'm going to do something. I'm going to do some fine detailing I want. So I'm going to need some of the Newland oil. I'm going to use some Leviathan purple, and I want one of my base colours. Okay, so the guns and the exhaust, they're going to be hot. They've been firing, so they're going to be hot, and the metal has got, I want the metal to reflect that. So I'm initially going to take some of this brass one. I'm going to need Leviathan purple open and ready as well. I'm going to take some of the brass and I'm going to put that on the tips of the gun, and then while it's still wet, I'm going to take the purple, I'm going to mix it in, maybe get another hint of the brass just and then it looks a bit of a mess at the moment, but when it dries it will look like it's been heated up. Do the exhaust here. Take some of that brass. We should just mix them in together. And then the same on this side of the exhaust here. There. Same on this tip of the guns up here. There we go. Just get a little bit of that brass. There we go. Won't look like much now, but when it's dried, it does really add to that extra dimension that yeah, the engine's been firing. It's hot. That metal's been heating it up. So I think this is a good stopping point for now. This has come along really, really nicely, and I'm really, really happy with how this is progressing. It's not done yet. The main thing that I now want to do is the treads, and along the sides here where I will be collecting up I'm going to be using paints, but this will be where the dirt and the dust have been collecting through the treads, so it's going to be more of a natural earth or sands colours. To add to that, I've also got what are known as technical paints. They tend to be textured to give effects of dirt, or they harden or crack, or do what you want to do with them. I might add some of that depending how it's looking and how I'm feeling, but that will be the next stage. So thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying this series. Until next time, may the force be with you.